Oilers radio broadcaster Cam Moon from 630 CHED. Let's bring him in from the 780. Cam, great to see you, man. Big fans here, as you know, and I got to say something. Is this a Saskatchewan thing? Because when we promoted you were coming on, first guy jumps in, Corey Gibbons, former Nipawin Hawk. Does that happen every time? Your name? Yeah, exactly. Cam's on all the time.
I love it. The tradition and history of the Nipawin Hawks in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League is, as you know, long and historic, and it's a wonderful franchise. And I'm very proud to have said that I was able to play there.
Cam, I am super excited. We haven't chatted since we were in Edmonton last year for the World Juniors. It was so fun. But obviously, you know what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the Oilers. Of course. And of course, the big thing going around right now is everybody's kind of beat this to death, but I want to hear your opinion about this. Are the Oilers going to sign Leon and Connor long term?
Well, I think the likelihood of it is good. That's still down the road. So, I mean, so many different things can happen. There's so many different variables. But with Jeff Jackson coming in as CEO that was announced last week, I don't think that has hurt the opportunity of that. And quite honestly, I think the only way those two are able to play together is in Edmonton. I just can't see it happening anywhere else. And they are part of a close-knit group within the team. So I think that's how they would like to continue moving forward. Of course, the dollars and cents have to add up for everybody, and that's still down the road and a little ways down the road anyway. So I think it's going to happen. But again, there are so many different things that can go on between now and then. I'm not going to say you can take that to the bank because there's just too many variables. But if you were to ask me right now, this far out, and still another year out from when you could sign Leon Draisaitl to an extension, I would say it's more likely than not.
Cam, of the Oilers news this week, it was that Brandon Sutter has signed. And I kind of thought of you immediately because you called his junior games. You're so close with the family, and now you're calling the Oilers games. I'm sure you have a take on Brandon getting this tryout with the Oil.
Yeah, well, it's from the team's point of view, I think it's outstanding because it's you have nothing to lose. It's just a PTO. And I think from Brandon's point of view, it's really good also in that he hasn't played for a couple of seasons and needs looking for an opportunity to get back into the NHL, and will have to prove himself through training camp and through the preseason. But he has been training all the way through. There's one thing Brandon Sutter is always going to be, and that's in really good shape, because that's just the way he is. But I know he was skating with the Rebels last season, in the last half of last season. He's skating with a group of pro, junior, and college players in central Alberta over the course of this summer. And I was able to watch a few of those sessions a couple of weeks ago. And he thinks he's ready to go, and that's great news for a guy that has missed the last couple of years. That's tremendous, quite honestly. So I'm happy for him. I hope it works out. And honestly, I think he brings something that the Oilers could use, and that's a guy that could find a role, I think, on the fourth line in the middle as a right shot, and a great penalty killer, an incredibly intelligent player that has all the experience that he does so far in the National Hockey League. And quite honestly, that part's all great, but what he also brings, and I think is just as important, is that veteran presence. He's a smart player. He's a good guy in the dressing room, and he works incredibly hard. So I think he would fit in really well with the group in Edmonton. So I hope it works out. Selfishly, I would love to see another former Red Deer Rebel on the team. You could get in there with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, so I think that's outstanding. A lot of Western Hockey League flavor with the Oilers, as there was with the Vegas Golden Knights this past season. And it was a great series between the two this past spring. But I like seeing WHL grads do well, and Brandon Sutter is one of those.
I agree. It doesn't hurt to have a Sutter on your team anywhere, in my opinion. But it's kind of interesting what you said about bringing people in to make it more effective for the Oilers. One of the things Rod and I talked about last week on the show was this. He asked me if I feel like the Oilers have been doing enough over the last couple of years to make their team stronger. I want to hear your opinion on what they've been doing to make it stronger, and where there could be room for improvement.
Well, I think they, like last year, definitely at the trading deadline, it was quite obvious they made their team better. I mean, Matthias Ekholm comes in, and the team's goals against from that time to the end of the year, I believe, was 9th in the NHL. So that made a significant difference. Nick Bjugstad came in and I thought filled a role. In fact, he was so good last year that he kind of priced himself out of Edmonton, as the Oilers just don't have a ton of cap space to deal with. And what they have left still is up in the air until the Evan Bouchard RFA deal gets done, and it's expected it will get done. It's probably going to be somewhere between 3.8 and 4, so that will let the Oilers know what they have left to deal with at that point. But do I think they gave themselves an opportunity to improve last year? I think they absolutely did, and having a full season of Matthias Ekholm will make a significant difference. I don't know that this summer, with the exception of a very creative Connor Brown contract, in that it's a very small contract with a lot of bonuses, which means those bonuses are going to roll over to next year as far as the cap is concerned. But a creative way to add a top 6 forward, albeit coming off an injury. So it remains to be seen where he's at, although, as I understand, everybody tells me he's good to go and should be impactful. And I would think he will be impactful. So I think the team has improved, and they're always looking to do whatever you can. But when you're up against the cap, as the Oilers are, and as the Oilers will be going into the regular season, we'll see if they start with 21 or 22 on their roster. I think it's highly unlikely they start with 23. Last year they started with 21 because of the cap constraints. So I guess that will remain to be seen what that is as far as the number goes. But I think they've improved themselves. I think the Connor Brown addition, the fact that he played junior with Connor McDavid, and they were very good together, and I think that's going to help too. So, yeah, I think they've improved themselves. I quite honestly, I think Jack Campbell is going to have a bounce back year, and that in itself is going to improve the team. Stuart Skinner had an outstanding rookie season in goal for the Oilers. Some bumps along the way in the Stanley Cup playoffs, but he's not going to be the first rookie NHL goaltender to have some bumps in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So I think that can absolutely be excused. But yeah, I think that's going to help too. In fact, the Oilers need that. They need 2 goaltenders. It needs to be a very active competition for ice time. And last year was a bit up and down. There was times where, Jack Campbell had a string there where he won 8 or 9 in a row. And of course, Stuart Skinner had that great run at the end of the season. The whole team did, quite honestly, going into the playoffs. I think they're better, and I can't wait till this gets going to see how much better and how the whole thing shakes out.
Okay, and Monty from Saskatoon has pointed out, and ex-Saskatoon Blades goalie, we had to get that in there, Cam Chef. And
good.
Fortunately for you, we've run out of time. I'll just ask you yes or no. The poll question for Key Auto Group: does the Elks' 21-game home losing streak end tonight? A yes or no from you, sir. I am assuming you're still a season ticket holder of the green and gold.
I am. I'll be there tonight. I'm hoping this is the one where they break it, but ultimately I doubt it.
Okay. Thank you, buddy. Enjoy the game. Have a great season.
Okay. Thank you.
The wonderful and talented Cam Moon, the radio voice of the Edmonton Oilers.